Welcome back, students. Today we're going to do lesson 4.8. We're multiplying decimals and we're going to have zeros in the product. What we're talking about here is connect. When decimals are multiplied, the product may not have enough digits to place the decimal point. In these cases, you may need to write additional zeros as placeholders. So if we don't have enough places to place the decimal, we add zeros as placeholders there. The first question says, students are racing a typical garden snails and measuring the distance the snails travel in 1 minute. Chris's snail travels a distance of 2/10 of a foot. Jamie's snail travels 4/10 times as far as Chris's snail. How far does Jamie's snail travel? So her snail travels 4/10 of the 2/10 of a foot. So we're going to multiply those two together, because it says 4/10 times. And we set this up. 2/10 times 4/10. When we multiply this, we're going to go 4 times 2 equals 8. Then 4 times 0 is 0. And then we count our place values to the digits to the right. So we have 1 digit to the right of the decimal point in the top number, and 1 digit to the right of the decimal in the bottom number. So 1 plus 1 equals 2 places that we're going to have in our answer. So we count over to the left 2 places. We place our decimal, and then we add a 0 in the ones place, because anytime there is not a digit in the ones place, you need to have a 0 there. All we're multiplying today is basic facts, and then you may have to add some zeros as placeholders. If you look at the second page, we're going to multiply 2/10 times 30 cents. So we're going to multiply the whole numbers together. So we're really multiplying 30 times 2. And since we're multiplying hundredths times tenths, we're going to have an answer in the thousands. So as we multiply this, we're going 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 3 is 6, and then 2 times 0 is 0. We're not going to worry about this 0 in the ones place, because it's going to result in a lot of zeros. So now we can go ahead and place our decimal point. We count our decimal places. We have 2 digits to the right of the decimal in the top factor, and only 1 place to the right in the bottom factor. So that gives us 3 total places to the right of the decimal. As we go through this, we have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right. Then we place our decimal point. We add a 0 for the ones place, and our answer is 60 thousandths. But remember, we're talking money. So if we place a decimal or a dollar sign there, and because we only can have 2 places to the right of the decimal in money, we need to get rid of this last 0, and the answer would be 6 cents. 6 cents. The next question here, next example, is 2/10 times 5/100. As we set this problem up, we're going to put the 5/100 on top and the 2/10 on the bottom, because the 5/100 has more numbers. Now, in order to solve this, all we're really looking at is just 2 times 5. 2 times 5 is 10. We carry our 1. 2 times 0 is 0 plus the 1, and then 2 times 0. We count our decimal places. There are 2 numbers to the right of the decimal in the first factor, and only 1 number to the right in the second factor, giving us 3 digits to the right of the decimal in our answer. So we count over 3 places and place our decimal point. And our answer is 0.010 ten thousandths. Or we can also get rid of the extra zero at the end, and our answer would be 1/100th. What steps did we take to find the product? Really, we just multiplied our 2/10 times our 5/100ths. The 2 times 5 is what we really needed to know. And then we placed an extra zero in the ones place because there was not enough zeros as placeholders here. On to the next page. Looking at these examples, really they're looking at the basic facts here. 7 times 5. We know that's 35. Now we're going to place the decimal point, and because there are 2 digits to the right of the decimal up top, and there's 1 number to the right of the decimal on the bottom, that gives us 3 places to the right of the decimal. So as we move over in our answer, we're going to count left. 1, 2, 3, and place a decimal point. Now, we have an empty placeholder there in the tenths place. So we're going to put a 0. And then we're also going to put a 0 in the ones place here. And our answer is 35 thousandths. Because we have 3 digits to the right of the decimal, and we have 3 in our answer. Question number 2, we know 3 times 2 equals 6. We should have 1 digit to the right in the top factor, and 1 digit to the right of the decimal in the bottom factor. Remember, we're making our addition problems off to the side to show how many decimal places we should have. The answer would be 2. We should have 2 numbers to the right of the decimal in our answer. So we count 1, 2, place our decimal point. Empty swoops or empty place value holders here, we get zeros. And we place the 0 in the ones place. Anytime the ones place doesn't have a number, make sure you put a 0. And our answer is 6/100ths. Number 3, again, these are basic multiplication facts, and then we are going to move the decimal over and we will insert zeros when necessary. So 2 times 2 is 4. There are 2 digits to the right on the top factor, 1 on the bottom. That gives us a total of 3 places. We count over 1, 2, 3, then put our decimal. I'm going to put a 0 in the ones place, and on those 2 empty places, I will also put zeros. And our answer to 2/100ths times 2/10ths is 4 thousandths. Number 4, we're going to keep working. Again, now we have money. So money should tell us that we're only going to have 2 places to the right of the decimal once we get our final answer. So 8 times 5 is 40. I have a bunch of zeros here that I don't really need to multiply all of this out. Now you can go ahead and do 8 times 0 and then carry your 4. Or you can just count the place values. 2 on the top, 1 place on the bottom. That gives us 3 places over. 1, 2, 3, place my decimal. I have to insert a 0, and I also need that 0 in the ones place. Now remember, with money, we can only have 2 places to the right when we're for our final answer. So we have to get rid of this extra 0, and instead of 40 thousandths, our answer will be 4 hundredths, or in money terms, 4 cents. Number 5, 7 times 9 equals 63. I'm just going to put my 63 down because there's no need to carry those digits to the next because there are a bunch of zeros. Two numbers to the right of the decimal, 1 in the bottom factor. Again, 3 places to the right of our decimal point. So we're going to swoop it over 1, 2, 3, put our decimal point here, add a 0 in the tenths place, also have to add a 0 in the ones place, and our answer is 63 thousandths. Just like the book said earlier, when you have hundredths times tenths, you should have an answer in the thousandths place. 2 tenths times 1 tenth gives me 2. There's tenths times tenths, which should be hundredths. So I move over 2 times, place my decimal point. I've got a 0 in the tenths and also a 0 in the ones place, and our answer is 2 hundredths. You're going to solve 7, 8, 9, and 10 on your own. Be careful with number 10 because it's money. So remember, when you circle your final answer, make sure that you only have 2 places behind the decimal. Go ahead and hit pause on the screen here, and then when you're ready to move on, go ahead and hit play again to reveal the answers. All right, as we look at these, number 7 was 3 tenths times 3 tenths. The answer is 9 hundredths because there were 2 places to the right of the decimal. Number 8, 5 hundredths times 3 tenths is 15 thousandths because 5 times 3 was 15, and then there's 3 places behind the decimal. Number 9, 2 hundredths times 4 tenths is 8 thousandths. Again, 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 decimal places gives me 8 thousandths. And then number 10, 40 cents times 1 tenth is 40 thousandths because there's 3 places behind the decimal, but with money, you have to get rid of the extra 0 so that you can only have 2 places to the right of the decimal. In money, that would give us 4 cents. We're going to look at the algebra part here. Number 11, we have 3 hundredths times 6 tenths. 3 times 6 is 18. And then we have 1 number to the right and 2 numbers to the right. So that is 3 total places. We'll move over 1, 2, 3. We'll put our decimal point. We're going to have a 0 in the tenths and a 0 in the ones place. And it is 18 thousandths. Now, if we look at question number 12 here, question number 12, we're looking at 2 tenths times what number gives me 8 hundredths? Well, first of all, 2 times what gives us 8? That's going to be 2 times 4. And because we have 2 places to the right of the decimal in our answer, then we should have 2 numbers in our factors. Well, 2 tenths has 1. So this first number should also have 1 number to the right of the decimal. So this should be 4 tenths because 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 place plus 1 place to the right gives us 2 places in our answer. So N is 4 tenths. On number 13, the same thing. We're trying to get to 63 thousandths, so 9 hundredths times what gives me 63 thousandths? Well, 9 hundredths has 2 places to the right of the decimal, and our answer has 3 places to the right of the decimal. So we know that N should have 1 place to the right of the decimal. And 9 times what number gives me 63? 9 times 7 gives me 63, and I need one place to the right of the decimal, so that would be 7/10. Hundredths times tenths equal the thousandths place, so this would be 7/10. Last question, number 14. Michael multiplies 2/10 by a number. We're not sure what number, but he multiplies 2/10 by that. He records the product or the answer of 8 thousandths. What number did Michael use? So we're thinking 2/10 times n, a number, equals 8 thousandths. So first of all, 2 times what gives me 8? Well, 2 times 4. I'll scroll down. 2 times 4 gives me 8. But there is one number to the right of the decimal in the first factor, plus how many numbers to the right equals 3 places to the right in our answer. So how many places do we need to have to the right of our decimal in this second factor? We would need 2 numbers to the right because 1 plus 2 equals 3. So instead of just 4, we need 2 numbers to the right. So our missing number is 4 hundredths. 4 hundredths times 2/10 gives us 8 thousandths, which is what we were looking for. So 4 hundredths is our answer. Tonight for homework, you're going to be solving the odd problems. We're doing numbers 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Now be careful on number 9. It's money. So make sure that you know that you only need 2 places to the right of the decimal once you're finished. You still will need to count the number of places. You're still going to have to count and move the decimal over, but when you insert your answer, make sure that it's money and you only put 2 decimal places to the right in your answer. If we look at the back, again, we're just multiplying on the first 2. We set these up. This is 6 hundredths times 5 tenths. And then we also have 9 hundredths times 4 tenths. Question 3, a florist makes 24 bouquets. She uses 16 flowers in each bouquet. Remember what the word each means to solve. Now we're looking for altogether how many flowers does she use. So 24 bouquets, 16 flowers are in each of those bouquets. Number 4, Mark has 312 books in his bookcase. He has 11 times as many fiction as nonfiction books. How many fiction books does Mark have? Remember, this is way back in chapter 2. We're thinking we want to split those up. We want to divide the number of books between fiction and nonfiction here, and we have 11 times that. Remember, this is the lesson where we drew the boxes. So we have fiction and we have nonfiction. Nonfiction, he has more, first of all, he has more fiction books than nonfiction books. So we're going to give nonfiction 1 box. And we're going to give fiction 11 times that. So 11 times that. He has 11 boxes. So we have a total number of 11 boxes plus one extra box. So we're going to divide 312 by 12 because we have 11 boxes for fiction and one box for nonfiction. So that's 12 total boxes. Instead of drawing all 11 boxes out for fiction, I just put times 11. So we're going to divide our 312 by 12. Whatever answer we get is the number of nonfiction books that he has. And you can even write that answer inside of that box. To figure out the number of fiction books, you're going to take your answer that we put inside of this box here and multiply it by 11. So whatever you get is the number of nonfiction books. To figure out fiction, take this answer and multiply it by 11. And we're looking for the number of fictional books. Question number 5, Dwayne buys a pumpkin that weighs 12 and 65 hundredths pounds to the nearest tenth. Round that to the nearest tenth of a pound. How much does this pumpkin weigh? So we want to round this to the nearest tenth. So really think about what place value or what digit is in the tenths place. And then round it to that. Remember, you should not have any digits after the tenths place, after you round it. Last question, what value? Remember, value is how much a number is worth. So what value does the digit 6 have in the number 896,000? So how much is that 6 worth? All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to message Mrs. Laudick or I. Have a great day.